What's up, everybody? It is Black Monday officially. We are in the first day of the Seahawks offseason officially, and it is the first day of the offseason for a lot of teams out there, actually. So it's a rough day for many, many fan bases in the NFL. And when a fan base is officially eliminated from the playoffs and their season is over, there's a question that tends to circulate among that fan base. Who do you want to win now? Who do you want to have success the rest of the season? What do you want to see happen now that your team is eliminated? And at this point, if you're eliminated, your season's playing over. You're not even playing out the string for pride or anything like that or trying to build momentum. It's just over. So obviously your focus turns to the off season, but your focus also to a certain extent turns to, well, what do we want to happen now for the remainder of the NFL season? What do we want to happen in these playoffs? And generally speaking, most fans will say, I'm throwing my support behind Team X. I want this team to go win. I want this team to do well. I want this team to win the Super Bowl. I want this team to go as far as they can. And the team they might pick will come down to a variety of different factors. And I think there are some fans out there that don't really play this game. They're just like, my team's out. I don't really care what happens. It means nothing to me now. I don't care who wins at all. It's just my team's out. So to me, it's all the same. Most people have a preference, even if it's very subtle and small. So if anybody was wondering where Seahawks Brendon Nelson is going with his support for the remainder of the NFL season, I am putting my support behind something that is very useful. I am putting my support behind a utilitarian cause, something that is actually going to help the Seahawks, however little bit we may be talking about here. I am throwing my support behind the Houston Texans. Now, there are a couple different reasons why, and there are some football reasons. This is a very fun team. This is a very inspirational team. They have a rookie quarterback, they have a rookie coach. They've had all kinds of injuries this year they've overcome. They were considered an underdog for the playoffs as recently as a few weeks ago, and they've overcome it. They've won games without CJ Stroud. They've won games without their top receiving options. They've won games despite a relatively leaky defense. They've won games despite a relatively leaky offensive line. And they're here now with a double-digit win season. They're in the playoffs, and I am throwing my support behind them because I just think it would be cool if they did something. Fun fact, the Houston Texans have never, in their franchise's existence of over 20 years, made the AFC title game. They have never made the conference championship round. And if they could do it this year, I mean, they'd have to shock the world a little bit. But the Houston Texans have my support for the remainder because it would be fun for all the reasons I just described, but there's also a utilitarian argument for it, which is draft pick stuff. Now, the Houston Texans, I want to be clear about this, have already done the heavy lifting here. They've already done more than enough to make this work out well for the Seahawks. But as you guys all know, they are sending their first round pick this upcoming draft to the Cardinals. And there was a time where it looked like that pick was going to be in the top 10 because Houston wasn't expected to be good this year. The fact that Houston had a good season has already saved us a lot of annoyance this offseason because as of right now, that pick that Houston is sending to Arizona is 21st overall. And it really can't get much higher than that. Maybe it could bump up a spot or two. Very unlikely. And if they win a game, if they can win a game in the playoffs, even just one game, that pick goes all the way down to the 25 to 28 range. It would probably be 25th at that point. But while most of the important work has been done, Arizona's not getting a blue chipper with that extra first round pick this year. Why not push it a little bit further while we're here, since it doesn't cost us anything either way? Like this weekend, the Browns play the Texans in Houston. And this game, it's we don't really have any incentive to root for the Browns, do we? Like maybe you like the Browns, maybe you want the Browns to win because you think that's a cool story too with what's going on with Joe Flacco, and I'd agree with you. but it's not like it's costing us anything. It's not like I'm rooting for the Texans to beat the Seahawks in the playoffs, though, or something weird like that. No, I'm just straight up rooting for a result that I otherwise would have very little interest in. So the Texans are hosting the Browns this upcoming playoff weekend. I think that's a game they can definitely win. I mean, I know Flacco's been a fun story and he's done some impressive things, but he is still an aging quarterback who was out of the NFL basically when the season started and is liable to just have an awful game at any given moment. And while Cleveland's defense should be able to throw a lot at CJ Stroud and this very banged up Houston offense, I kind of view this game as a little bit of a toss up right now. It's hard for me to say that Houston should feel good about their chances because they don't have a lot of receivers. They might not be getting some of their offensive linemen back. They've got injuries on that defense that they may or may not recover from. But I can't really say Cleveland is comfortable either, given their QB situation. So, yeah, that's going to be what I'm rooting for, and that's exactly why. I think that's a very, very clear and obvious argument in favor of wanting the Houston Texans to do as well as possible. One more win from Houston this year, one more win to get to that divisional round, and Arizona's first round pick that they're getting from them this year is basically nothing, is basically a bottom of the barrel first rounder. So I that's what I'm hoping for this weekend. And look, if they can find a way to win that game, if they can find a way to beat Cleveland, then next week they would probably play Baltimore, which hey, that probably wouldn't end well. But they might also draw Kansas City. They could draw Buffalo. They could draw Miami. There are a few different things that could happen here for Houston, and some of them are not so bad. Some of them they could surprise you, and then boom, they're in the conference championship round, and that pick is really bottom of the barrel, really just right at the bottom of the league, at the first round. Excuse me. Sorry, tripping over my words a little bit there, but the Houston Texans have my support for the remainder of the playoffs. Once they get eliminated, we'll reevaluate. But I think it's a pretty good cause. Arizona's already getting that top four pick courtesy of their own failures. So if we can push that other first round pick down a little bit more, make them less able to trade up into the top three if they want to get that superstar franchise quarterback, that would be appreciated. Okay, so let me know who you're rooting for down below. What do you want to see happen? I know there are going to be some Bills people. I know there are going to be some Lions people. We're definitely going to have a few Miami people, maybe some Ravens people. There's going to be a bunch of different things going on here in terms of what you want to see the rest of the way. But D'Amico Ryan, CJ Stroud, and Nico Collins have my support down in Houston for the time being. Enjoy it while it lasts because my support is very conditional when it comes to teams that are not the Seahawks, and I will switch to another team in the blink of an eye. All right. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks and go Texans for the remainder of the playoffs. See you guys later.